We are taking this IMS sectional test, VARC, 60 minutes, 34 questions. We're gonna try to attempt 20 to 22 questions with also 95 to 100% accuracy. Okay, here we go. My strategy is that I'm going to be spending initial 15, 20, 25 minutes on these jumbled sentences and critical reasoning kind of questions, theta questions. Uske baad I'm going to move to RCs. This is what I do. Okay. Agar aapke paas koi bhi question hai, what I can do is I can give you the rights to unmute yourself. Right? You have the rights now to unmute yourself. Pause me there. Unmute yourself and ask the question if you have any question during the paper. Okay, so let's see if the questions are correct. 34 number. Okay, the UI looks like the original CAT UI. Right, I'm gonna be moving to these theta questions. Question number 1 is a theta, not theta, but jumbled sentence. It looks like, and we have an RC. I'm just familiarizing myself with what the paper looks like. Okay, so बीच में RC आएगी. उसके बाद ये क्या हो रहा है? Question number 8, 9, 10, 11 is also RC. 12 हमारे पास कुछ अलग question है, not RC, not RC. Okay. Then 14 also not RC, 15 also not RC, 16 again, 16 to 19 or 20 would be RC. Okay, 16 to 18. Then we have, okay, read the following research. Okay, so following inference-based question be answered. Okay. Then we have which of the following okay, which of the following will strengthen kind of questioning. Which supports the author's argument. Okay, challenging lag raha hai paper. Best example, काफी CAT relevant lag raha hai paper. Okay, grammar based question lag raha hai. Okay, we grammar based question. AB grammar based question. Then another RC, mythology का कुछ देखा था मैंने यहाँ पे. Okay, not mythology, myth, left brain, right brain करके कुछ है. Okay, look at the kind of question here. What is the style of this passage? So I'll definitely want to try this RC, right? Because it's a direct question that I'm getting in this RC. A free, it could be a free number, free 3 marks for me. And based on test, we can say that the statement is probably, definitely, probably false, definitely false. Okay, थोड़ा challenging हो सकता है. Probably true, definitely true type question है. Choose a suitable title. Okay, title देना इस passage को ये RC में जरूर attempt करूँगा. It looks little, I would say, my kind of RC. Chota sa question and direct. Then such grammar type, sentence, okay, stand, make, inference, fact, and judgment. Okay, again, FIJ. 3 FIJ questions है. चलिए, बीच में मैंने grammar questions देखे थे. Let's start with those questions. Okay, here we go. His mysterious hints piqued my curiosity. Okay, it's going to be B. They were, what am I doing? It's a general pair of directors from the director. Okay, most appropriate word. They were piqued at not being invited to the party. Okay, piqued, B again. She peeked around the corner to see if anyone was coming. Peeked, jhaan kar dekhna. It's again B. Then his career peaked 10 years ago. Matlab, ऊंचाई पे पहुंच गया 10 years ago. So A. This is what the answer has to be. I'm 100% sure. The plants wither. ये spelling गलत है. Wither की wither has to be this one. When traveling alone, you must remain wary. मतलब wary means careful. Wary नहीं होगा यहाँ पे, wary होगा. So A again. This project is of the utmost importance. Okay. His arguments are naive and simplified. Simplistic. Simplistic is more चिढ़ाने वाली term है. Simplified is like simplify कर दिया उन्हें चीज को. But I've used naive here, right? So I'm kind of criticizing. I'm kind of presenting a negative connotation here. So it has to be simplistic. Okay. Whether, very, utmost, and simplistic. AABB. Got it. This also I'm like 100% sure. I peeled off the label of the bottle. I peeled off the label of the bottle. She tore up the letter into tiny pieces. She tore up, tore off, tore up. The little boy was so tired that he was nodding off while eating dinner. B. They're unable to eke out a living in this current circumstance. Eke out. Yeah. I mean, not able to eke out means unable to eke out would mean कि अपनी living accommodate नहीं कर पा रहे हैं वो situation. Or could be a COVID situation. Eke out is the correct phrasal verb. I peeled off the label of the bottle. She tore up the letter into tiny pieces. Is correct. The boy was tired. So he was nodding. Also fine. Okay. I think this is fine. I'm a little confused between peeled up or peeled off, but I'll go with my guts. Peeled off. RCA अभी नहीं करूँगा, but definitely इस RCP में आऊँगा. Then शुरू में कुछ देखा था हमने छोटे questions. Okay, the sentence given is probably sequence from a coherent paragraph. Each sentence is labeled with a letter. Okay, so I have to rearrange these statements to form a reasonable paragraph. Similarly, okay, तो इससे तो start नहीं हो सकता. ऐसे similarly आ गया. That means I'm already talking about something, and similarly मतलब I'm taking the extension of it. So of course, यहाँ से start नहीं होगा. Next, so A से कोई start है भी नहीं option. So let me just go to the option and see कहाँ से start हो सकते हैं, right? Let me leverage on this. Let me try to play it smart. Theta question नहीं है, so अपना इतना दिमाग क्यों खपाऊँ मैं, right? If one places B से एक option है मेरे पास, let's see. If one places iron fillings over a magnet, one finds the iron fillings create a spider-like pattern that fills up all of space. Okay, sounds to be a reasonable start. Let's go to C. Empty space to Faraday was not empty at all. Okay, Faraday की बात करी गई है, but Faraday को मैंने कभी introduce करा है क्या? But was filled with lines of force that could make distant objects move. Okay, so C also अभी तक सही लग रहा है. These are Faraday's lines of force. Okay, E देखते हैं. If one graphs the magnetic fields of the Earth, for example, one finds that the lines emanate from the North Polar region and then fall back to the Earth in the South Polar region. Okay, so काफी smartly place करे गए हैं options, right? सारे ही I would say possible options लग रहे हैं, but let's see which one can start this paragraph better. Now what I'll do is, now because I couldn't narrow down, I couldn't cut down on any, I would say, possible start, right? Sorry, reasonable start lag rahe hai. What I'll do is I'll try to form some pairs. Okay, similarly, if one were to graph the electric fields, तो graph की बात करिए, कुछ किसी ने graph करा है, right? इससे पहले भी किसी ने कुछ graph करा होगा. Electric fields of a lightning rod in the third form, one would find the lines of a constant at the tip of the lightning rod. Okay, इससे पहले देखते हैं किसी graph की बात करिए. One places I don't think the one finds I don't think it is spider web. Okay, नहीं. This space one was not empty but was filled with lines of forces that could make distance object moves. Okay, empty space to Faraday. One for lightning rod. One would find the lines of force constant at the tip of the lightning rod. Okay, empty space were not empty at all but was filled with lines of force that could make distant objects move. Okay, so A के बाद C is a possibility. Next, these are Faraday's lines of forces. What are Faraday's lines of forces? Right. What are Faraday's lines of forces, which graphically describe how the force fields of electricity and magnetism permeate space? Okay, now I've got some hint. These, what is these? Let me find that out. These are Faraday's lines of forces. One graphs of magnetic field, for example, one finds the line of emanate from the North Polar region, then fall back to the Earth in South Polar region. Okay, ED. Or if one places one iron from magnet, one finds the iron can create a spiral-like pattern. Okay, spiral-like pattern that fills up all of the space. These are Faraday's lines of forces. Okay, BD forms a good pair, right? Then D ke baad again we're talking about these fields. I would say I'm a little inclined towards keeping E here after D. So BDE. If one graphs of magnetic fields, BDE. BD to pakka hai. So let me see BD kahan pe hai. Okay. Option number C and D are gone. Option number 1 and option number 2 are left. BD EAC, CAEBD. BD form a very good pair. I'm gonna have to stick to it. Next, similarly, empty space is being talked about. Right. Similarly, if one were to graph, so say graph. If one graphs, okay, E ke baad A is a pair. So E ke baad A is a pair. Okay. Option 1 is the answer. E ke baad A, these, if one graphs, then similarly one were to graph, okay, form a good pair, and then if one places iron fillings, and then these are Faraday's lines of forces. Got it. I'm 90% sure that this is the answer. I'm going to move to the next one. The following one properly sequenced. Again, jumble sentences. The situation that is now in place more or less began then. anyone could print anything without first gaining legs. Okay, then it's something I should have already talked about. Government censorship of printed material had collapsed. So let's look at the options. The options given hai yahan pe. So let's not try to be over smart. Let's just try to be smart here. Options को use करके देखते हैं कौन सा एक good start बन सकता है. B, E से start हो रहे हैं. Let's see which is a better start, B or E. B. Government censorship of printed material had collapsed during the Civil War and the interim, but the return of King Charles II in 1611 had reasserted control over the content of all books, pamphlets, and other publications, requiring prior consent for each and every publication, further restricting the printed trade. Okay, it looks like a good start. E. The creation of the earliest newspaper print was a byproduct of an event that occurred owing to something of a governmental absence of mind. Okay, E also seems to be a reasonable start. Right. I would say E is a better start because the creation of the earliest newspaper was a byproduct. So it's like introducing an idea. Okay, why earliest newspapers were creation in Britain was actually a byproduct of an event that occurred owing to some accident, governmental absence of mind. Okay, this seems to be an idea being thrown to you, and then आगे जो बात करेंगे has to follow. Okay, E, I'll go with E as the start, not B. आगे देखते हैं E के बाद B, E के बाद A, which is better. E के बाद which is absence of mind. Okay, the situation that is now in place. No, E ke baad government spends. Okay, I'm talking about this governmental absence of mind, and then in B, I'm immediately talking about this probably this government incident जहाँ पे वो absence of mind government ने prove करी अपनी. Right, government censorship printed had collapsed during the Civil War and the return of King and the license that had reasserted control over the applications. Okay, EB is something I'm inclined towards, but let me confirm. Let's go to F. In 1695 यहाँ पे 1660 chronology order follow हो रहा है. 1660 है यहाँ पे, then 1662 का act की बात कर रहे हैं, and then 1695 the act collapsed, the act lapsed. Which act? This act of 1662. Okay, with notice when inside with it kind of impellment and practice of different material. Okay, EBF के बाद A आता है. The situation that is not in place or less began then. Okay, lapsed के बाद EBF is a very good pair, and I would want to stick to it and mark this as answer. 100% sure. ओके आगे पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है मेरे को क्योंकि ऑप्शन में और कहीं ईबीएफ दिया नहीं गया. राइट, अगर दिया भी होता वो फर्स्ट से थर्ड ऑप्शन में तो आई वुड हैव नॉट स्टक टू इट बिकॉज ई इज वेरी गुड स्टार्ट. राइट, एंड मेक्स मोर सेंस देन बी एज अ स्टार्ट फॉर दिस पैराग्राफ. तो इफ यू रियलाइज मैंने दो सेंटेंसेस पढ़े भी नहीं है इस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन के, एंड आई मार्क द आंसर ऑलरेडी. ओके, ये क्या है क्वेश्चन 11? क्या हो रहा है ये? कर रहा हूँ अपने ऊपर हो रहा है. Anyways, question 11 ये क्या है? For the word below, context is provided from the alternatives given. Pick the word that is closest in meaning. Oh, synonyms type. Brio. Oh, okay. Now I don't know what the meaning of brio is. ठीक है? Probably लिंडा को पता होगा या संचित को पता होगा या आर्यन को या मनवेंद्र को. तुम लोग अटेंड कर रहे हो सेशन. I don't know what brio means personally, but I'll see अगर context से मुझे पता चलता है what brio is. This book was published towards the end of the 1990s when the UK was under the modernizing brio, modernizing era, modernizing time kind of a thing is what is being talked about. Modernizing era, I would say, of Tony Blair's new Labour government. So this book was published towards the end of 1990s when UK was under the modernizing era kind of a thing. Modernizing agenda? No. Quality? No. Milo? No. Vigor. Modernizing vigor. Modernizing vigor. Yeah, makes sense. What are we sure? Agenda? Totally not. Middle is something I'm not sure about. So you go under modernizing below. Middle is usually a social environment, right? So modernizing below doesn't make sense. It's more of a personal social environment rather than something I can relate to a economy. Okay, D. Modernizing bigger. Next, blight. By showing how modernity, again, it's the same question, pick the one that is closest. Okay, I would want to read this again because agar aisa question I closest in meaning wala, I could expect opposite in meaning also. Right, so be careful. Blight. By showing how modernity recasts invisibility not as a power but as a blight, not as a power. Okay, so power is strength, something positive, but as a blight, something negative. Okay, so I have to talk about something negative. So by showing how modernity recasts invisibility not as a power but as a blight, H.G. Wells' novel The Invisible Man created a template for metaphors of social alienation and impotence. Okay, आगे का तो कुछ waste है, doesn't help me, but what is going to help me is the first part of the statement, first part of the sentence. Not as a power, but as a blight. Power is strength, and blight is bane. Okay, makes sense. Salve मुझे नहीं पता मतलब क्या होता है. Defect, not as a power, but as a blight. नहीं. Dearth, situation, no. But as a, okay, dearth is a more neutral word. Right. Bane, salve, I don't know the meaning of salve. Check this out. ऐसी situation भी होंगी. Right. मुझे नहीं पता इसका मतलब क्या. I'm like absolutely alien to this word. But bane is something that is making perfect sense. Right. Something not as a boon but as a bane is something I can relate this to. Yeah, makes sense. I'll mark this. Baroque, from the alternative, the word that is closest in meaning in the given context. Okay. These surprisingly lucid phrases are from McCarthy's Blood Meridian and All the Pretty Horses, respectively. Books whose prose is otherwise often fantastically Baroque. Okay. These surprisingly lucid phrases are from this book. Books whose prose is otherwise often fantastically. Okay. So lucid का opposite word देखना है मैंने. Oh, यहाँ पे meaning भी आ रहा है. यहाँ पे meaning क्या हो रहा है? अच्छा, Grammarly मेरे उसमें installed hai. This is my office laptop. Okay, sorry about this, guys, but I didn't check. Don't worry. These surprisingly lucid phrases. Lucid means vague, right? Phrases from McCarthy book. Prose is something I'm going to talk about. Surprisingly lucid. Okay, lucid opposite is actually very lucid. Is going to be like very clear. So Baroque. So usually what is happening is in this book, जो आप देख रहे हो बहुत ही क्लियर से जो फ्रेजेस आपको दिख रहे हैं ये बढ़िया अनकॉमन है इस बुक में बिकॉज यूजुअली ये बुक आपको वेगनेस दिखाती है. ओके, आई डोंट नो. Eloquent means someone who's like expressive, ebullient. नहीं, it's like abundance kind of a thing. और net सजाने की चीज होती है. Oblique. I'm not sure. I'm inclined towards marking oblique. These surprising lucid phrases are from respect whose prose is otherwise often fantastically Baroque, ornate. Oblique. Oblique is something I'll mark. Again, 90% sure, but I think this is the answer. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, one of my favorite kind of questions. आते नहीं आजकल CAT में, but दिया गया है sectional में, so let's attempt this. For the given word at the top of the table, marks the dictionary definitions. Okay, बहुत ही famous. These used to be like very famous type of questions in CAT up till 10 years back, right? But अब आते नहीं ऐसे question, but again IFT and MAT में ऐसे questions आते हैं, so it's okay. Let's do this. The total points in a game, score is what are being talked about. The total points in a game. They were score. It was the latest score in the match. Total points in a game. A notch or scratch. The knife made a long score on the surface of the old wooden table. The score in the scene enhances the emotional impact. There were about a score of applicants waiting in the reception area was the latest score in the match. Okay, notch or scratch is going to be knife. So B has to be with E. B, E, B, E. Only option number 1 and 4 are there. Okay, the background music in a film. The score in the scene enhances the emotional impact of the dialogue. So C and F. So क्या था? B and E, C and F. B and E, C and F. Okay, here we go. Option A is the answer. B and E, C and F. D or G भी देख लेते हैं. Group or set of 20. D and G. They were about a score of applicants. Got it. Option 1 is the answer. Weight. The heaviness of something, importance or consequence, to burden with, to bias or favor. Usage. Fear of what would happen to his family if he died was weighing him down. The weight of all the textbooks. Okay. The opinions of the employees should carry more weight. Importance. यहाँ पे importance आ गया. Okay. So B has to be with G, mandatory thing. The laws in this country are weighted against the interests of the common people. Biased. So B, G and DH is what I'm looking at. B, G and DH. B, G and DH. B, G and DH. Option B. Importance of the employees should carry more weight with employees' importance. Okay. आगे भी देख लें. The heaviness of something. इसके हिसाब से F है. A is F. The weight of all the texts they have to carry gives full children back problems. Okay. Heaviness of something. Something very tangible. Okay. To burden with as an emotional burden probably is what I'm talking about. Fear of what would happen to his family if he died was weighing him down. Emotional burden. C to E. Okay. Mapping say yeah. This is what my answer is. RC अभी नहीं करूँगा. Okay, I'm 20 minutes out, and let's see how many questions I've attempted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 questions I've attempted. 50% of the target is almost 50% of the target is completed. Let's see. और ऐसे छोटे मोटे कुछ questions हैं क्या? देखे थे हमने कुछ. Here we go. Inference. The phrase science and technology presumes an inseparability that may not be as secure as we think. They can be science without technology, and they can be technology without science. Pure mathematics is one example. From the Pythagoreans to Japanese temple geometry of a science flourishing without technology. Imperial China developed sophisticated technologies while neglecting science. It's all too easy to imagine a society that embraces technology but represses science until one technology remains. The following can be inferred from the passage. Science is vital for the function of society, but it's possible technology can be done away with. No. It is meant that important technology may not be lied in the favor of science. Okay. That science is often linked with technology does not mean technology will always bring us science. Okay. The person that I'm going to end this happy note may not continue forever. Okay, here we go. So I think A and B are out. I'm going to read B and C again. It is imperative that the importance of technology may not be made light of the favor in science. Okay, that science is often linked with technology does not mean that technology will always bring us science. Okay, C is the answer. It is imperative that the importance of technology may not be light in the favor of science. The favor of I mean, it's not about favoring or not favoring science. It's just that the link is not always there. Okay, C. 90% sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll go with my gut. In 1950, read the answering question that follows. In 1950, 2/3 of humans still lived rurally. Today, more than half live in cities. Urban dwellers tend to have fewer children. In fact, humanity's population growth rate has finally slowed. But that doesn't mean that urbanization has solved the world's overpopulation problem. Okay. 1950 में 2/3 of the humans still lived rurally. Today, more than half live in cities. Okay, so of course city में ज़्यादा आ गए हैं लोग. 33.33 थे, 50% हो गए. Urban dwellers, मतलब city को ढूंढने वाले, tend to have fewer children. In fact, humanity's population growth rate has finally slowed, but that doesn't mean that urbanization has solved the world's overpopulation problem. Okay, so इनकी migration from rural to urban हुई है, but that or the urban dwellers हैं, they tend to have fewer children. That doesn't mean that this urbanization has solved the world's population problem. So I need something to strengthen this. Which of the following, if true, best explains why overpopulation is still a problem despite the slowing of the growth rate? Why overpopulation is still a problem? Okay, so there has to be something out of it. In the least developed countries in the world, most people still live in rural areas. Since urban dwellers have fewer children in distant families, short and management in highly urbanized societies, the rate at which the population grows has slowed, but the population has still not stopped growing. Okay, the rate at which the population grows has slowed, but the population has not stopped growing. The rate at which the population grows. Okay, ठीक है. अगर पहले 50% growth होती थी, आज की rate में 20% growth है. So rate slow हो गई है, but the population has not stopped growing because आज की rate में लोग इतने हैं कि 20% is also contributing a lot. Okay, this makes sense. आगे देखते हैं. Urban dwellers require massive amounts of food, which only the rural dwellers make. This is very, very relevant. I would not want to consider 4. 3 is my favorite so far, but let's read other 2 also once again. In the least developed countries in the world, most people still live in rural areas. नहीं, least developed, more developed की बात नहीं करी गई है. Right? कहीं पे भी ऐसा बात नहीं करी गई है कि अंडर डेवलप्ड, least developed, most developed city या country की बात हो रही है. Generally बात कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे. So A is out. Since urban dwellers have fewer children, this in fact has led to shortened manpower, and no, this would be an inference, not something. If true, पूछा गया. Okay. Since urban dwellers have fewer children, this in fact has led to a shortage in manpower in highly. But that, how is it solving the world's population problem? Third is coming out to be the best option. I'll mark it and leave. Next, read the short passage given below. Answer the question that follows. So, following if true most supports the author's argument. इसमें हमेशा डाइस ही रहता है. This is because काफी confusing रहता है statement को समझना कि भाई which of the following if true most supports the author's argument. तो काफी लोग confused होते हैं, but let's see how difficult or easy this question is. The bigger an animal's brain, the greater its intelligence. जितना बड़ा size होगा, उतना बड़ा intelligent जानवर होगा. Okay, I can actually predict what's going to be coming next. So size की बात करेंगे. You may think the connection is obvious. Just look at the evolutionary lineage of lineage of human beings. Humans have bigger brains and are cleverer than chimpanzees who have smaller brains. But chimpanzees have bigger brains and are cleverer than monkeys who have smaller brains. Okay. Yet I believe that this idea is wrong. For instance, there are non-human animals such as honeybees or parrots that can emulate many feats of human intelligence with brains that are only a millionth or a thousandth the size of a human. Okay, so ultimately author कह रहा है कि भाई ऐसा कुछ लेना देना नहीं है इंटेलिजेंस से, right? Which of the following, if true, most supports the author's argument. तो अगर तो मेरे को कोई ऐसा एग्जांपल मिल जाए जो मेरे को बताए कि भैया देखो साइज बड़ा था, right? लेकिन नालायक था वो जानवर, right? I'm going to be sold with that option. Okay, let's see. Honeybees or parrots can have some aspects of human intelligence, but far from all. Size बड़ा नहीं, मुझे on contrary चाहिए. Whales, which possess the largest brains among animals, are known to be particularly intelligent. नहीं, मुझे on contrary चाहिए कि भैया जितना बड़ा brain था उतना ही बड़ा गधा जानवर था. So this is on contrary. Human beings may be cleverer than chimpanzees, but there are things that chimpanzees can do that humans cannot. But we're not talking about things that can. Chimpanzees can climb up the trees, right? This statement could mean that. I'm not denying that chimpanzees cannot do something, can do something I cannot do, or things like that. So C is also out. Ancient human lineages such as Neanderthals used to have larger brains than modern humans, though the former were no smarter than the later. Here we go. This is what I'm looking for. Please the answer. I'll not even question it. In the arts and the entertainment, you can read the short passage given below and answer the question that follows. In the arts and the entertainment spheres, machines that can think, the question for the following option provides the best example of the point the author is trying to make. Okay, so example होगा इन चार options में और idea होगा इस passage में. चलो paragraph में. Let's see. In the arts and the entertainment spheres, machines that can think are often depicted as simulacra, whatever, of humans, sometimes down to the shape of the body and its parts. Oh, okay. And the behavior suggests that their thoughts are much like our own, but thinking does not have to follow human rules or patterns to count as thinking. Examples of this fact now abound. Chess computers outthink humans, not because they think the way humans think about chess, but because they think in an entirely different way. Okay, so it's not like you have to compare the machine with the humans. They can be totally different from humans. Okay, what's the best example? Let's see. Computers can do useful language translation without much knowledge of grammar, though humans require grammatical understanding in order to use language anyway. Okay. Some researchers in artificial intelligence propose that to intelligent researchers, machines will be possible only when their cognitive system built to imitate those of human beings. No, on contrary, मेरे को opinion चाहिए. अगर तुम machine को human से compare कर रहे हो, you are actually denying or weakening Author's argument. Computers are capable of feats of memory calculation, but far beyond human capabilities. Okay, and they're also able to do something that all ordinary humans, even children, can. No, again, you're comparing machine with human. I don't want that. In popular entertainment, robots and computers are often depicted as feeling human emotions of curiosity, worry, or guilt. So there's no reason why machines would be capable of such emotions. Again, not relevant. One is turning out to be the best option, but I don't know. I forgot exactly what it was saying. Let's read it again. Computers that can do useful language translation without much knowledge of grammar, though humans require grammatical understanding in order to use language in any way. Okay, so this is telling me that computers and humans are different and without much knowledge of grammar. Okay, the input that we're providing is also something that is different. I'm not really sure. बहुत ही बढ़िया example नहीं है ये, but बाकी सब भी मेरे को कुछ खास नहीं लग रहे हैं. Some research in artificial intelligence product will be possible only when the economy built together. नहीं, ये तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. Because capable of features of memory and the robot will be certain thing. Again, comparing humans with machines. So B or C out. Clearly out है. In popular entertainment, robots are often depicted as feeling human. मुझे on contrary चाहिए. मुझे machines को feeling human emotions, human type नहीं दिखाना है. So A is something I'm going to mark, although I'm not 100% sure. I would say not even 90% sure, but 80% sure हूँ मैं. But और कुछ मेरे को दिख नहीं रहा है. और कुछ is not making sense. B, C तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. D, I don't know. D थोड़ा अजीब सा ही option है. A is I'll go with my gut feeling. I'll mark it. Right. Again, guys, ये भी ऐसी भी feeling आती है exam में. 100% sure नहीं हूँ, but ऐसी feeling से 3 से 4 question, maximum 5 question मारनी चाहिए. ठीक है, बाकी सब ये मैंने करा है. लेट्स नॉट गो टू आरसी. ये आरसी में सबसे पहले अटेम्प्ट करूंगा क्योंकि इसमें क्वेश्चन एक लाइनर के हैं एंड मेरे फेवरेट टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस है. स्टाइल ऑफ द पैसेज, टाइटल ऑफ द पैसेज, थिंग लाइक दैट. ओके, ये पढ़ते हैं. द फॉलोइंग क्वेश्चन, वर्ब इज गिवन फॉलोड बाय मल्टीपल सेंटेंसेस इन व्हिच इट इज यूज्ड एज अ फ्रेजल वर्ब. Identify the sentence with the phrasal verb. Okay, phrasal verb ये भी CAT के favorite questions होते थे थोड़ा time पहले तक, but अब नहीं आते हैं. But you never know, right? कब भाई क्या आ जाए. So we have to, right, attempt this and attempt this passionately with full interest. I know what they're going to talk about. Phrasal verbs, news verbs. Okay, make. We decided to क्या करना है मैंने? Identify the sentence the phrasal verb is used incorrectly. Okay, we decided to make do होता है. Make do क्या होता है? Make do with what little we had. Make do होता है. A is definitely correct. Oh, sorry, incorrect. Her father plans to make over the family business. Okay, makeover is usually like makeover kar raha hu, so it's like correcting it, right? But it can also mean transferring something. Make over the family. Okay, the thieves. I'm a little confused about B, but I'm not getting this feeling that this is absolutely wrong. I've heard this phrasal verb to make over the family business to her. I'm not sure, but it seems right. But let's go to C. The thieves made off with lakhs of rupees worth of jewelry. Made off nahi hoga, made OFF hoga. C is definitely incorrect. The newspapers did not print the article as they thought it did not make for interesting news. Okay, this is fine. For the time lost due to the recent rains. I'm a little psychologically still stuck with B, to be honest. But anyways, let's try to forget a D. D is definitely correct. Let's go to E. Okay. The workmen were asked to work longer hours to make up for the lost time. So E is also incorrect. Let's go to B again. Her father plans to make over the family business to her. Make over the family business. But अगर ये phrasal verb make कहीं पे use करना है sentence में, तो make over की जगह कुछ और भी अगर मैं डालूं, तो it doesn't make sense. Right? Make up भी नहीं हो सकता, make to भी नहीं हो सकता, make off भी नहीं हो सकता. So make over has to be correct. Right? Okay. Little dicey about B, but I'll mark it and move ahead. Not waste much time. Next, stand. Is this the same phrasal given multiple sentences? Phrasal verb incorrectly. Okay. Identify the sentences that are incorrectly used or improperly used. Okay. Stand is something they're talking about first. Please do come in. Don't stand on ceremony. Okay. Don't stand on ceremony. Please do come in. Is that a formality? Mat karo. Don't stand on the ceremony. Okay. Looks fine. The political party stands for religious freedom. Looks fine. She's so tall that she easily stands out in a group. Stands up. Okay. Looks fine. The teacher told the students to stand with respectfully when the principal came in. Stand up. Stand with respectfully. Okay. D is definitely wrong. If you stand to your problems, if you stood up to your problems, if you stand up to your problems, okay. Again, E is also incorrect. He decided to stand down as the chairman of the board. Okay, step down. Stand down, step down is the same thing, guys. It's fine. Okay, D and E are incorrect. Let's read it again. Please do come in, don't stand on ceremony is fine. The political party stands for religious. Okay. So tall that she easily stands us in a group. Okay. He decided to stand down as the chairman of the group. Okay. ये तो बिल्कुल सही है. Jesus doesn't stand with the okay. गलत. If you stand up to your problems. Okay. D and E are incorrect. Judgment, inference, and facts. कितने questions कर लिए? We're left with 26 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 4, 13, and 3. 16 questions I've attempted. RC attempt करूँगा तो if frequency, the speed is going to increase. ठीक है ना? 15 मिनट ठीक है. Cool. Okay, let's read this together. Facts, inferences, and judgments. The following question is a set of sequentially or sequentially can be written on the following facts, which deals with a piece of information. Okay, inference which a conclusion from the unknown. Okay, the opinions to improve. Okay, okay. I'm always surprised at how easily and cheaply we humans lie. It has to be an opinion, right? Because I am surprised, right? I'm talking about, it's like my opinion, it's my judgment about humankind. Okay, so A is J. That is judgment. Everyone has been in situations when you lie about trivial matters. Okay, such as saying that you have read a particular book, even though you haven't. Everyone has been in situations. Okay, so it's more of a fact because I'm saying everybody. I'm talking about everybody. We all have been in situations when we lie about trivial matters. It's not an opinion. I'm not talking about my personal opinion. I'm talking about a general, I would say, accepted fact. Okay, then it seems surprising that anyone would bother to lie in such a low stakes situation. Okay, it seems to be judgment because it seems surprising to whom? To me. Right, so it's a judgment. The book Lie is what you might call a lie of reputation. You are concerned with what other people think of you. Okay, the book Lie is what you might call a lie of reputation. You might call a lie of reputation. You're concerned with what other people think of you. So it seems to be an inference to me. It's not a fact for sure. It's not judgment. Uh, it's inference. The book Lie is what you might call a lie of reputation because you're concerned with what other people think of you. Okay, GFJI is my response. Next, the greatest, again, it's facts, judgments, and inference-based questions. The greatest concentrations of linguistic diversity are found in the tropics. Okay, fact. Right, tropics ही बात कर रहे हैं. Something I can validate. Give me like a minute, guys. I need like a break of 1 minute. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, back. Need some water. Okay, the greatest concentrations of linguistic diversity found in the tropics. Fact. Okay, fact. Remove हो गया यहाँ से. That's because languages thrive where the web of biological diversity is also at the more in tropical rainforest above all. That's because, so inference. More languages are indigenous to Venezuela than to all of Central and Eastern Canada and area many times its size. Fact. Where food is abundant, territories don't need to be large. Where food is scarce, territories expand. Seems to be where food is abundant, territories don't need to be large. Where it's not, seems to be fact to me. I'm confused. Where food is abundant, territories don't need to be large. Don't need to be large. Okay, it's not like they are not large. So it seems to be an opinion. Where food is scarce, territories expand. Where food is abundant, territories don't need to large because where food is scarce, territories expand. Okay, it's not an opinion for sure. Fact में confusion है और fact नहीं है क्योंकि territories don't need to be large. Okay, I'll mark this as an inference. I'm not sure. I'm confused between don't need to be large and food is scarce, territories expand. I'm confused between fact and inference, but I'm more inclined towards inference. Let me just mark and move ahead. In the Scientific American column, our the computer scientist Douglas Hofstadter cites the case of the Idle Toy Company, which stated on the package of the original Rupee Cube that there were more than 3 billion possible states. Okay, fact. Calculations show that there are more than 400 possible states for is fact. What the package says isn't wrong because there are more than 3 billion possible states. Inference. The understatement, however, is symptomatic of a pervasive innumeracy which ill suits a technologically based society. The understatement, however, is symptomatic of a pervasive of a pervasive innumeracy which ill suits a technologically based society. Technologically based or biased society. Okay. The understatement, however, is symptomatic of a pervasive innumeracy. Kaun bol rahi hai? Because which ill suits. Okay. Not a fact for sure. It's symptomatic. Symptomatic is receptive to it. Pervasive innumeracy, which ill suits a technologically based society. Okay, the understatement, however, is symptomatic of pervasive innumeracy, which ill suits a technologically based society. Confused between J and I here. I know because there's no answer to any Y in the statement. The understatement, however, is symptomatic of pervasive innumeracy, which ill suits. I would mark this as J. Fact. Because there are more than okay. Again, I would say this last D ka J hai ki nahi, I am like 80% sure, right? But it could turn fatal. I'm not sure. But okay, chalo, let's mark and see what happens next. Okay, I don't think हमारे पास अब और questions बच्चे हैं, सारे RCs बच्ची हैं. Let's take the RC that we talked about. We'll take first. Okay, let's read this RC together, guys. Most people have heard about the left brain, right brain idea. Maybe they have been told they are too left-brained or want to be more right-brained. The idea has made it into everyday parlance. Has infiltrated schools everywhere, sells a lot of self-help books, and has been used as the basis of scientific theories, for example, with regards to gender differences in the brain. Yet it is an idea that makes no physiological sense. Scientific lingo about how the two sides of the brain, the hemispheres, function has permeated mainstream culture, but the research is often widely over-interpreted. The notion that the two hemispheres of the brain are involved in different modes of thinking and that one hemisphere dominates over the other has become widespread, in particular in schools and the workplace. There are numerous websites where you can find out whether you're left-brained or right-brained and which offer to teach you how to change this. पता नहीं, I don't know. I've read like 2 paragraphs. मेरे को feeling आ रही है कि author इस idea को contradict करने वाला है, right? I don't know. But the language author has used, I can sense that author wants to, make mazak of what is being talked about. But let's see. This is pseudoscience and it is not based on knowledge of how the brain works. Here we go. So I would say assumption was correct. While it is true that the brain is made of 2 hemispheres and 1 hemisphere, so author has presented the idea that bhaiya dunya believe karte left brain, right brain. Mein science may be bhaiya there is a thing of hemispheres, left hemisphere, right hemisphere in the brain, but now author is gonna put his or her idea ki bhaiya what this is about. Let's see. But it's true that the brain is made of 2 hemispheres. Okay, so author is not denying that ki bhai 2 hemispheres. Scientifically challenge nahi karega. I'm assuming वो शायद more psychologically challenge करने वाला है इस idea को. And one hemisphere often initially active before the other during action, speech, and perception. Both of the brain work together. In almost situations, the hemisphere are in constant communication with each other, and it is simply not possible for an hemisphere to function without the other hemisphere joining in, except in certain rare patient populations. In other words, you're not right or left-brained. You use both sides of the brain. Some people have proposed that education currently favors left-brain modes of thinking, which are supposed to be logical. Okay, left wala is supposed to be logical, analytical, and accurate, while not putting enough emphasis on right brain domain thinking, which are supposed to be creative, intuitive, emotional, and subjective. Certainly, education should involve a wide variety of tasks, skills, learnings, modes of thinking. However, it is just a metaphor to refer to these as right brain. Okay, patients who have had lesions on this right hemisphere are not devoid of creativity. Patients with damaged left hemisphere might be unable to produce language, which lies on left hemisphere in over 90% of but can still be analytical. Okay. Whether left brain, right brain notions should influence the way people are educated is highly questionable. There's no validating categorizing people in terms of abilities either left or right in terms of education. Such categorization might even act as an impediment to learning, not least because it might be interpreted as being innate or fixed to a large degree. Yes, there are large individual differences in cognitive strengths, but the idea that people left brain and right brain needs to be retired. Okay. Ultimately, author ने बोल दिया कि भैया तुम right brain हो, मतलब creative हो या left brain हो, logical हो, ये idea को शन करो. I'm understanding as an author. I mean, I'm a believer कि भैया हाँ ऐसे hemispheres होते हैं, but examples ऐसे भी हैं कि भैया patients के left hemisphere damage था, might be able to produce language, but can still be analytical, which lies on something like that. Lies on the right one, not devoid of creativity. Okay, चलो idea मिल गया हमें क्या बात करना चाह रहे हैं author believe नहीं करता है इन सब चीजों में and has his own theory. Choose a suitable title for this passage: the left brain right brain dilemma. Okay, the myth of the left brain distinction. Okay, this is more suitable. The left and right brain divide, true or false. True or false नहीं है, author is not questioning कि भैया ऐसा false है. Obviously there is a divide. Author ने कहीं पे mention भी करा है, but author is saying कि भैया इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि तुम बीमार हो या तुम you're devoid of something. Are you left brain or right brain? No. There's no way I'm telling you if you're left brain or right brain. Okay. The left and right brain dilemma or the myth of the left brain. So myth, I'll go with the second option because author is trying to break the myth. Right? कि भैया distinction है, तुम एक दूसरे को बोलते हो कि तुम logical हो तो तुम left brain इंसान हो, तुम creative हो तुम right brain इंसान हो, और author ने उस myth को कहीं पे break करा है in the last 2 paragraphs. So I will go with option number 2 as a title. Next. What is the style of this passage? Descriptive? No. Narrative? No. Argumentative? Argumentative because in the first 2 paragraphs, author is introducing an idea, widely spread idea, widely known idea. उसके बाद author is contradicting it later. Analytical, not much, क्योंकि काफी examples और काफी analysis नहीं करा है author ने, अपने opinions डाले. So argumentative is the best option that is coming out for me. There's no difference between the function of the right and left hemisphere of the human brain. Based on this passage, we can say that the statement is there's no difference between the functions of the right and left hemisphere. There is a difference for sure. Based on this passage, and author is also saying that. Based on the passage, we can say that the statement is based on the passage. इसका मतलब irrespective of what author thinks. What do you think the passage is saying? Probably true, no, definitely true, no, probably false, definitely false, right? There's no difference between the functions of the right and left. There is certainly a difference, and author has also acknowledged it. So definitely false. According to the author, how should the concept of left brain, right brain thinking be used in education? Education policy should not differentiate between left and right thinking because people have trouble switching from one kind to the other. No. I don't know. Education policy should focus on left brain, right brain modes of thinking only in metaphorical terms. Okay, this looks fine. Educators should not categorize people as being left brain, as it strongly suggests that such differences are innate and unchangeable. Okay, अपन ने changeability की तो बात नहीं करी है कि इधर से उधर आप shift कर सकते हो. Okay, educators should use the left brain, right brain categories with caution, as it could be an impediment to learning. नहीं ऐसी बात तो नहीं करी गई. Question क्या है? How should this concept? Sorry, should not. Okay, last paragraph. Whether left brain notion should influence the way people educate is highly questionable. There's no validity in categorizing people in terms of abilities as either a left brain person. Does education such as might even act as an impediment to learning, not least because it might be interpreted as being innate or fixed to a large degree? Yes, there are large individual differences in cognition, but the idea that people are left and right needs to be retired. Okay, how should the concept of left brain thinking be used in education? Education policy should not differentiate. Okay, yeah. Because people have trouble switching from one. Okay, we're not talking about people having trouble to switch. Okay, A is not definitely not the answer. B, education policy should focus on left brain modes of thinking only in metaphorical terms. बिल्कुल भी focus नहीं करना चाहिए is what this last paragraph is saying. बिल्कुल भी categorize मत करो. There's no validity in categorizing people in terms of their abilities as either left or right brain. Educators should not categorize people as being left brained. Okay, बिल्कुल सही है. As it wrongly suggests that such differences are innate and unchangeable. ठीक है. Educators should use the left brain categories with caution. बिल्कुल भी use नहीं करना चाहिए is what I'm saying. But as it could be an impediment to learning because some people can think only in one word. No, C is coming out the best option. Okay, here we go. We have solved this RC. कितने क्वेश्चन रह गए? 12 मिनट रह गए. I'll prioritize my time accordingly. 1, 2, 6, 8, 11 क्वेश्चंस रह गए हैं. मतलब मैंने 23 क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट कर लिए हैं. Okay, we still have 12 minutes. चलो मजा आ रहा है. Let's pick one more RC. 12 मिनट है. Let's try to do like at least one more RC. ये 3 क्वेश्चंस वाला क्या है देखते हैं. बट अगर मैं टाइम स्पेंड कर रहा हूँ तो मैं 3 क्वेश्चन वाली RC क्यों करूंगा? मैं 4 क्वेश्चन वाली करूंगा, राइट? एक है भाई पाब्लो पिकासो, arguably the most illustrious artist. Okay, पाब्लो पिकासो की बात करी गई. Of course, आर्ट एंड कल्चर की बात करी जाएगी. थोड़ा I would say vague हो सकता है passage. Let me say अगर वो scientific passage है तो. Prayers are commonly referred to for seeking authority and founders of worship. Okay, religion is one of my favorite topics, right? So I'm inclined to pick this up. But let's see, last वाला क्या था? Europeans, Americans, ordinary Muslims. But I'm not gonna attempt. But why not? अगर तो ये मेरे को फ्री के नंबर दे रहा है, then I can attempt this, right? Let's see. When you're making ordinary mathematical and right over numerals, punctuation marks and small questions कैसे हैं यहाँ पे? Theta based question एक है. Okay, choose any based on this passage. Theta based question. I'm not gonna fall into this. I'm gonna be spending my time in a 4 question RC. Check this out, guys. The decision I've taken. 4 question का RC मेरे पास 10 मिनट पड़े हैं अभी. 4 question वाला RC उठा रहा हूँ मैं. 3 वाले को नहीं उठा रहा. और साइंटिफिक RC उठा रहा हूँ. और एक और रीजन है 3 वाले को ना उठाने का कि भाई इसमें थीटा क्वेश्चंस है. तो अगर मैं फंस गया अपना टाइम स्पेंड करके थीटा में तो क्या फायदा है? यहाँ पे ऑप्शंस हैं मेरे पास टू वैलिडेट. चलो यार क्या हो रहा है? ये वाला उठाते हैं. Prayers are commonly referred offered for sick people, both privately and in formal places of worship. Okay. In the 19th century, Francis Galton was the first to analyze scientifically whether praying for people is efficacious. Okay. तो ऐसा लग रहा है कि ऑथर क्वेश्चन करने वाला है प्रेइंग की ऑथेंटिसिटी पे. उसने फ्रांसिस गैल्टन का एग्जांपल दिया है, who was the first one to analyze scientifically whether praying for people is effective or not. Efficacious means भैया सही में काम करता है कि नहीं. He noted that every Sunday in churches throughout Britain, entire congregations prayed publicly for the health of the royal family. Okay, shouldn't they therefore be unusually fit compared to the rest of us who are prayed for only by our nearest and dearest? बिल्कुल सही बात है. Galton looked into it and found no statistical difference. His intention may in any case have been satirical, as also when he prayed over randomized plots of lands to see if the plants would grow any faster. They didn't. Okay, तो भाई इसने कुछ खेल खेल दिया. His intention was maybe satirical कि भैया वो बैठ गया एक प्लॉट पे और प्रे करने लगा टू द लैंड कि भैया यहाँ पे शायद प्लांट्स जल्दी ग्रो कर जाएंगे. चलो बढ़िया, अच्छी बात है. More recently, the physicist Russell Stannard, एक और physicist की बात हो रही है, threw his weight behind an initiative to test experimentally. Threw his weight behind. Okay, bhai. This is a word of caution. Threw his weight behind an initiative to test experimentally the proposition that praying for sick patients improves their health. Such experiments, if done properly, have to be double blind. And this standard was strictly observed. The patients were assigned strictly at random at an experimental group received prayers, or a control group received no prayers. Neither the patient nor the doctors or caregivers nor the experimenter were allowed to know which patients were being prayed for and which patients were controls. Okay, बहुत ही बढ़िया experiment है. Those who did the experimental praying had to know the names of the individuals for whom they were praying. Otherwise, in what sense would they be praying for them rather than for somebody else? But care was taken to tell them only the first name and initial letter of the surname. Apparently, that would be enough to enable God to pinpoint the right hospital bed. Okay. The very idea of doing such experiments is often to a generous measure of ridicule, and the project duly received it. Okay, bhai, बहुत बुराई मिली इस project को. Valiantly shouldering aside all mockery, the team of researchers soldiered on, spending $2.4 million under the leadership of Dr. Herbert Benson. एक और नाम लिया गया. A cardiologist at the Mind Body Medical Institute in Boston. Dr. Benson and his team monitored around 1,800 patients in 6 hospitals, all of whom received coronary bypass surgery. The patients were divided into 3 groups. Group 1 received prayers and didn't know it. Group 2, the control group, received no prayers and didn't know it. Group 3 received prayers and didn't know it. The comparison between groups of 1 and 2 tests for the efficacy of intercessory prayer. The comparison between groups and 1 and 2 tests for the efficacy of, okay. Group 3 tests for possible psychomatic effects of knowing that one is being prayed for. Okay, तो experiment की बात करी गई है. 3 तरह के ग्रुप बनाए गए हैं. पहले ग्रुप में जिनको प्रे मिल रही है पता नहीं है. दूसरे ग्रुप में प्रे नहीं मिल रही है, पता नहीं है उनको. तीसरे ग्रुप में प्रेयर्स भी मिल रही है, उनको पता भी है. चलो अब रिजल्ट्स की बात करी जाएगी. The results reported in the American Heart Journal, okay, were clear cut. There was no difference between, so it actually it turned out to be a very scientific RC, experimental RC. The results reported in the American Heart Journal were clear cut. There was no difference between those patients who were prayed for and those who were not. Okay, what a surprise. There was a difference between, one second, there was no difference between those patients who were prayed for and those who were not. Okay, what a surprise. There was a difference between those who knew they had been prayed for and those who did not, one or the other. Okay, but it went in the wrong direction. Those who knew they had been the beneficiaries of prayers suffered significantly more complications than those who did not. Was God doing a bit of smitting to show his disapproval of the whole silly enterprise? It seems more probable that those patients who knew they were being prayed for suffered additional stress. Awesome. Performance anxiety, as experimenters put in, it may have had them uncertain, wondering, am I so sick that they had to call in the prayer team? Awesome. But yeah, the last 3-4 sentences has kind of affirmed my idea about the passage. ठीक है, 3 लोगों की बात करी गई है, एक्सपेरिमेंट किया गया था और मजाक में एक्सपेरिमेंट किया गया था. लास्ट में ऑथर ने मजाक भी उड़ाया उस एक्सपेरिमेंट का कि भैया गॉड का मतलब क्या है. भैया प्रेयर तो मिल रही थी, तुम्हें पता भी था, तब भी तुम बीमार पड़ गए. एज कम्पेयर टू जिनको नहीं पता था उनकी प्रेयर हो रही है, जिनको नहीं पता था उनकी प्रेयर नहीं हो रही है, वो those were better patients. Recovery उनकी whatever, but the first set was actually bad. Okay. What is the author's attitude towards the prayer experiment described in this passage? Amused yet respectful. Respectful तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. Fascinated yet dubious. Dubious भी नहीं है. Sure है कि भैया experiment हुआ है, मजाक उड़ाया उसने. Skeptical and mocking, yes. Neutral तो नहीं है, and objective नहीं है. Okay, C is the answer. What did Francis Galton try to investigate? Whether knowing who was praying for them affected people's health, whether knowing if someone was praying for them affected people's health, Whether people's health was directly proportional to the number of people who prayed for them, not the number, no. Whether people's health was inversely proportional to the number of people who prayed for them, no, not the number. Whether knowing if someone was praying affected the people, whether knowing who was praying for them, who was praying, no. If someone was praying for them affected people's health, B is the answer. Which of the following descriptions best fits the passages? Scientific study of the efficacy of prayer. Okay. Nahin. A tongue-in-cheek experiment showing the futility of prayer. Sorry. A report on the ineffectiveness of prayer from a scientific standpoint. A scathing denunciation of the concept of prayer. Arey, badhiya. A scientific study of the efficacy of prayer. Prayer काम आती है कि नहीं? Scientific study करी गई है. Okay. Scientific experiment को लेकर. Okay. Looks good. Tongue-in-cheek experiment showing the futility of prayer. नहीं. It has been left to the reader to judge कि भैया efficacy है कि नहीं, futility है कि नहीं, जो भी है. A report on the ineffectiveness of the report भी नहीं है. I'm not presenting it to anybody, so can't be the report. A scathing denunciation of the concept of prayer, and I'm not denunciating it, I'm just making fun of it. 5 minutes. Yeah, just 5 minutes. It's almost done. Okay, scientific study of the efficacy. Yeah, scientific study of the efficacy of prayer. I don't know. I'm a little inclined to marking this as the answer. Report on the ineffectiveness. Result mera clearly was ineffective. I don't know. I'll mark A. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll mark A. Which of the following can be in front of the prayer experiment in this passage? It was designed by Russell Stannard, a physicist. Russell Stannard की बात कहाँ करी गई थी? I think वो पहला बंदा था. More recently, the physicist Russell Stannard threw his weight behind an initiative test. Threw his weight behind. Okay. मतलब उसने there was an already ongoing test. He just threw his weight there. Okay, he backed it. Okay, was designed? No. The experimental protocols were not strictly followed. ऐसा कुछ बात नहीं करी गई है. The patient's experiment had different kinds of heart disease. Can be inferred. Okay. Patient group 3 were the only ones affected by the prayers. The only ones affected by the prayers. Not strictly followed. I don't know. I'm a little confused with this one as well. Designed to protocols not strictly followed, not talked about. The patient's experiment had different kinds of heart disease. Again, no. The patient in group 3 were the only ones affected by the prayers. क्योंकि बाकी दोनों groups को तो फर्क पड़ा ही नहीं ना, because एक को prayer उनको तो पता ही नहीं था. Patients in group 3 were the only ones. उनको पता था और वो affect हुए. So negatively affect हुए, but they were affected. Okay, cool. I'll mark option D. Okay. There we go. हमने 2 RCs नहीं करी हैं, 7 questions नहीं करे हैं, काफी बढ़िया solve करा आज हमने. And I would say कि इतने number आज solve हो गया because बीच में grammar वाले questions बहुत थे, जैसे ये 11, 12, 13, fact, inference, judgment वाले, critical reasoning के 3-4 question मिले, right? और phrasal verbs मिले, तो उनमें कम time लगता है, right? This number is not, I would say, an ideal 98, 98.5 वाला number. Right, but I would say, chalo, theek hai. Let's see what the result is going to be. 2 minutes, there's no point of reading this. Let's see if we can answer just by looking at the question. The author begins the passage with a description of Pablo Picasso's reaction to the cave paintings. Okay, beginning mein kuch baat kari gayi. I'll try to attempt this question. Begins the passage with a description of Pablo Picasso's reaction to the cave painting. I'll ask in order to show that. I was the most illustrative who paid a visit to the cave paintings in France. Okay, we have learned nothing. Is reported as his odd. Almost indignant comment. Like the anonymous Stone Age, I mean to mark this as answer. And we're actually into the representation aims and achievements on society. Okay, bhai, to dimag lagega isme. Reaction is one that many would share, and define the precise species of animals and might be beyond this, but we have little essential difficulty. Because I the most illustrious we had a visit to the pages and opinions into the France, and we have learned nothing. Okay, painting देखकर क्या था भाई हमने कुछ नहीं सीखा. Is almost indignant comment implying that the anonymous Stone Age lost of class and miracle into the representation aims and achievements of art within modern. तो उन्होंने modern भाई अच्छे से पकड़ा civil society because reaction one that many of us would share. Precise piece of animals. Okay, देखते हैं. So begins the passage description about reaction था. You learn nothing. Okay. To show that even the great artists can be mistaken sometimes. Okay, I was wrong to suggest the cave and modern style. Okay, so everyone wants to interpret modern theory. Only one to truly understand. Okay, A and D are out. Because I was wrong to suggest the cave painters of painted modern style. It is tempting for modern people to interpret ancient caving based on modern theories of art. Here we go. I'll mark C. What's the passage about? ये तो नहीं कर सकते हम. Okay. जल्दी में मैंने एक question number 3 mark करा है. सही लगा मेरे को. Let's see. There we go. 72 is my score. Accuracy, shit. 90%. Attempts 28, wrong 3. I hope the last one that I marked was not. And how do I go and see the paper? Okay, test. I just followed my gut feeling in the last question that I marked. CAT. Sectional test. Oh yeah, sectional test. Third question sahi tha. Okay, awesome. Here we go, guys. 3 question galat kare maine. Third question: what is Francis Gallen trying to investigate? Whether knowing if someone is praying for them affected people's health. What was the answer? The people who were directly proportional to the number of people who prayed for them. Okay. 9. Okay. इसमें already शक लगी रहा था. Scientific study of the efficacy of prayer. What is the answer? 3. Let's go to the report. Okay. Strange. Question number 30. Oblique. It's maybe doubtful tha. Ornate. Okay. Whatever. I don't care. Anyways, guys, so this is what the result is. We attempted 28 questions and 3 wrong. But I would say